Hello, hello. Welcome to the Dr. Tumor Talk Show on blackdoctor.org and on our YouTube channels, both on Facebook and on YouTube. And so, welcome, and let me know if you're listening, where you're from. It's always nice to know where people are. And if you're listening later, put in hashtag replay. I will be answering questions at the end, and you can always put questions, particularly on my YouTube channel, on the video underneath the video on the YouTube channel. I do see those and I get notifications and they don't get lost. Anywhere else, I may or may not see them. Unfortunately, I don't always see the ones on Facebook and I don't always get the notifications. So please let me know where you are. Let me know if you're watching live or if this is a replay, and make sure you put your questions on my YouTube channel, where I hope you've subscribed, of course, and put in ways to get notified if I put a new episode in. I also do post some other things besides the episodes each Tuesday. So if you want to get those as well, some shorts from clips from other videos and things that are just helpful hints and information that you like. So again, I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer, family medicine and community health physician, and I am the founder of Total Weight Care Institute, where I talk about all things health, wellness, and weight care related. I help people with complete and compassionate weight care, and I teach other physicians how to provide compassionate and complete weight care for their patients so that they too can enjoy a whole and healthy life. And so today I wanted to talk about, essentially use my M.E.M.O method. And basically what it is to get more out of, do less and get more out of it. Now, if I look a little weird, which I generally do, this is it's because I have a new camera, and for some reason it's making me look kind of strange and plasticky. So, oh well, it's new today, so I'll play with it around later. So I'm talking about the M.E.M.O method. And what the M.E.M.O method is something I developed for myself. Now, I've lost over 100 pounds. I've kept every pound off that I've lost. I didn't lose it all at once. I lost 60 pounds through very strict eating and trying to reverse my diabetes. And then I lost another 45 on a GLP-1 medication, which I was put on to protect my heart. So yes, GLP-1 medications have been around for over 20 years. I've been on one for over 10 years, and was to protect my heart from uh, losing its efficiency from my postpartum cardiomyopathy. And essentially what that is, it's heart failure after pregnancy. It's not very common. I still have it, and a GLP-1 medication helps with that. So you see, it does a lot of things other than just help people lose weight. And so the M.E.M.O method, is what I developed because at the time that I needed to lose weight, at the time I needed to get my health together, I was just simply too tired to do too much. It was very easy for me to get overwhelmed. I was very ill. I had out of control diabetes. I was 100 pounds overweight. My heart was failing. I had a newborn baby and a toddler. Whatever I did had to be easy, and it couldn't be too overwhelming, and it couldn't be too difficult. And so I wrote everything down as I did it and later honed it for my patients and my clients. And I've helped hundreds of people lose a significant amount of weight, 5 all the way to 250 pounds, and all in the same method. It just individualized for that particular person. And what M.E.M.O stands for is minimal effort for maximum outcome. Because what I often see is people getting overwhelmed and giving up because they try to do too much too fast, or they just try to do too much or focus on the wrong things. And so they put a lot of effort into things that just simply do not work, or they work temporarily, or they were told that it's supposed to work, and usually it doesn't. So if you're someone who spent your whole life being told, okay, eat less, exercise more, and then you're wondering why you can't lose weight, well, that's why, because that's not really what helps most of us who have difficulty losing weight. It doesn't help us do that. We may lose a little bit, but we can put a whole lot of effort into not eating very much and exercising a whole lot and still not see much success or much improvement. Um, so what, excuse me, they always say, you know, you're successful when you start getting trolls. So I'm starting to get some trolls. So here we go. I have to delete some comments here. Um, and unfortunately, it looks like this person's going to keep posting um, something about Donald Trump. Anyway, so um, if I accidentally deleted your comment, it was because I was trying to delete the troll who had come on. Um, this person is just really going, I'm going to have to block them because they keep posting really negative stuff. Okay. So I blocked that user. So hopefully that's the end of it. Um, and then I'll delete that comment. Okay. So here we go. So again, talking about the memo method. So the reason why this is so important is because it's really important for people to understand how to measure their progress. So that way they don't lose traction, they don't get discouraged, and and so that's what I'm going to be talking a lot about. The other is our mind can really play tricks on us. So if you have ways of keeping track of how we're doing, it's easy then to go back and look and see how we've been doing. We can see it written down, we can see it in some way measured so that we don't get discouraged and we don't get lost in the reads. So I want to say hello to Seth P, who's watching from Florida for the first time. Thank you for joining us. And again, if you're listening now, let me know where you are. If you come on later, say hashtag replay. And also ask your questions on my YouTube channel so I can see them at a later date. But I'll also answer questions at the end of this broadcast as well, this episode. So the MEMO method, again, stands for minimal effort for maximum outcome. And it should be applied to the pillars of weight loss. So when you apply it to the pillars of weight health, it really helps to maintain an easy way of staying healthy, losing weight, and maintaining it for the rest of your life because you don't get overwhelmed and it's not extreme in any way. I always say, whatever you do now, you need to be able to do when you're 90. Otherwise, whatever progress you've made will all go away. And so when you think about the MEMO method, I call it the 4 M's. There are 4 M's involved. It is mindset, meals, muscle, and medication. And within those are everything we need to know to be healthy and to lose the weight we need. Now, understand that the weight we need to lose and the weight we want to lose may not be the same. Health doesn't have a size. So when your body gets to a place where it's healthy, it may not be where you want it to be, but it's very much where your body wants to be to keep you as healthy as possible. Because what our goals may not be all that healthy for us. And so our body won't let us get there. And that's why I rarely have people set weight goals. I have them set feeling goals or symptom goals or goals of some other way that they can measure that's not just a number on a scale. We only use numbers on a scale just to see what our progress is, but it really isn't a good sign of our health. Okay. So the first M is mindset. And the reason mindset's so important, and I've talked about this, I've harped on this a lot. What stress does to our body overrides all other benefits. You could be eating the right thing. You could be exercising. You could be taking medication, and stress will override all of it. If we don't have a way of mitigating our stress, it will derail whatever else we're doing. The other thing with mindset is you have to be in a place where you feel you deserve your results. If you don't think you deserve your results, you're not going to get them. And being able to imagine where you're going and where you're going to be, how you'll feel, what it would smell like, what it will feel like, what your interactions with people will be like, and not let it frighten you is really, really, really important. And so mindset's number one. And it's hard because many times we've been blamed and shamed for a lot of the things that are wrong with us. It's our willpower, it's our lack of discipline. Our weight's been assigned to all these things, all these symptoms that may or may not have been, because of our weight. And even if they are, that doesn't mean we're not experiencing them and we don't need help with them. So often what happens when we walk away feeling discouraged and feeling shamed. And so often the mindset piece is the most difficult to obtain, but it's really, really important to focus on. Otherwise, it's really hard then to see the wins you're having, the success you're having in all the other areas. And so setting small, realistic, and attainable goals is how we help boost our confidence and in have more courage in our process. And for each person, it can be a different thing. And that's where, having some assistance, talking to people, having them um, guide you along if you feel like you're getting lost along the way. And that's where, coaches or other doctors and other things may help. Um, and then the most important with mindset is let the pace be your pace. This isn't a race and it's not a sprint. And you can't compare yourself to other people because everyone's body responds differently. Everyone may be doing something differently. Not everyone who's doing something and they're losing weight quickly is doing it in a safe and healthy way. And that weight may actually come back and they may gain more in the process. So never compare your weight loss with other people, your weight health and your progress with others, because really healthy progress is not quick. It's actually quite slow and it can be a little boring. So let your pace be your pace. So the second M is meals. How and not restricting meals. One of the mistakes that we often make is dropping our calories too low and not eating enough. And what happens when we do that is our body goes into starvation mode and our metabolism slows down. Our brain is designed to prevent us from dying. And the way it does that, one is from keeping us from starving, the other is to keep us from being eaten by a bigger animal. So our fight or flight reaction is very strong, and our anti-starvation process is very strong. So if our brain gets in the mindset, feels that we're starving, it will shut everything down. And that just defeats the whole purpose of a healthy process. And so it's really important to eat regular, complete meals focusing on protein and healthy fats like avocados and coconut oils if you can use in moderation. Things that are natural that your body will know what to do with. Unnatural oils tend to clog our arteries like margarines and but natural and the more liquid oils are actually healthier. Solid oils tend to be solid in our body. So that's butter, as opposed to avocado oil, which is liquid, or olive oil, which is also liquid. Plant-based oils are better than animal-based oils. And so when it comes to our meals, focusing on what you can eat is so much more important and so much healthier than focusing on what you can't. We tend to, this is the time where we have to unlearn a lot of bad behaviors from our past dieting culture. We've been told what we can eat. We've been told to cut down the calories. We've been told, what's good food, what's bad food. No food is good or bad. All food is good. It's how you use the food that matters. And also the environment that food goes into matters. So that's why mindset's important. So eating food calmly, completely, paying attention, and also making sure that it is complete and nutritious and predominantly protein and healthy fats and limiting carbohydrates, then you'll find that you'll get far more from your meals and you'll get much healthier, have more energy, sleep better, lose more weight when you do that than if you starve, if you cut back calories way too much. Yes, if you overeat, you can gain weight. However, it's more important to pay attention to the configuration of your food, the content of your food, than the calories. And that's one of the biggest mistakes I see people make. They focus so heavily on calories, they ignore what the food is made of. And they'll be eating. So if you eat 1,500 calories of candy, it does something far differently in your body than if you eat 1,500 calories of a balanced diet. So that's something to keep in mind. So, amounts and calories don't matter as much as the content. Now, I am keeping some notes just to make sure I don't miss anything. Um, but so if you see me looking down, that's what I'm doing. Um, so sometimes this is the food part, the meals part is the biggest psychological hurdle that people have to go through, not just for themselves, but the people around them. Because everybody has been exposed to this diet culture. Everyone has been exposed to this um, idea that we're supposed to eat less and exercise more. And then what happens is that as you're eating, as you're trying to do things in a different way, as you're trying to fix how the mistakes you've made in the past in something new with a new method, if you're doing the same old thing over and over again, it's not working, then you're going to try something different. And we know what really works. Usually those around you have a reaction to it. And sometimes that can be very problematic and can be very much very difficult to kind of get through your process with under a microscope. And so that's something just to keep in mind. And so but that also affects your mindset. So when focusing on mindset and focusing on your meals, just know that they do go hand in hand. The third M is muscle. So when you apply the M.E.M.O method to muscle, that is minimal effort to maximum outcome to muscle development, which is highly important for your metabolism, it's highly important for a successful weight health process, then you don't have to do a whole lot. One of the things we see a lot of are these nice little videos of these people who are in their 20s and doing all these things that and they just do all this extra stuff and it looks so great and they look so strong and they look at all these things and you're like, oh my God, I can't do that. You don't need to either. You start where your body lets you, first of all. It's often the most dreaded part of the weight health process, mainly because we often go too far too fast. And so we strain our body, we hurt ourselves, we injure ourselves in something that we're doing. And so the best way to start is where you are. And when it's really important then to focus on trying to maintain a healthy metabolic process because your muscles will otherwise compete with that process. And so the best way to maximize muscle strength is to do full body exercise with no equipment. And that is squats, planks, and push-ups in any variation that suits where your body and health level is at that moment. And the best way to do that only takes about 14 minutes a day. And that is you do squats in good form for 1 minute and you write down the number that you get. Then you rest for 30 seconds, do another minute of squats in good form in any variation that's suitable for you, even if it's chair exercises, which you can look on YouTube and find, just for thighs and buttocks area, because that's what squats help with. So you do that for 1 minute, and again, you rest for 30 seconds and do it a third time. And then you just mark down how many you were able to do in good form in that time. Then you go to planks. You try to do as much as you can up to a minute, rest for 30 seconds, planks for a minute, rest for 30 seconds, planks for a minute, rest for 30 seconds. Again, you do the planks in the variation that works best for you. If you have low back issues, then there are other exercises you can do, and you can look those up on YouTube as well. And then you do push-ups. Again, you can do them on a wall, on a raised surface, on the floor. You can do it on your knees with hands. Whatever method variation works best for your health level at this moment. You do A minute in good form, write down the number, wait 30 seconds, do it again. So once everything's said and done, you do each one 3 times. After everything's said and done, that's about 14 minutes. And you've done a full body workout, a um, full body toning from head to toe. It doesn't take a lot. And if you really want to do something every single day and you can't even get all of that in, you can alternate. You start with your arms, you go to your planks, you do your squats. That is the M.E.M.O method applied to muscle. So if you're just joining, I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer, founder of Total Weight Care Institute, and I'm talking about the M.E.M.O method applied to a weight health process. And that is minimum effort for maximum outcome. And we apply it to the 4M method. We've talked about mindset. We have talked about meals. And now we're talking about muscle. And so when you do muscle work, you will get the biggest bang for your buck. Muscle work does a lot of things. It helps with mindset. It helps with energy. It helps with strength. It helps later with mobility and independence. And it helps your metabolism. There are very few things that will boost your metabolism. One is muscle. The other is eating regularly. And also making sure that your thyroid's healthy. But that's a discussion for another day. So the 4th M is medication. Use medication when it's appropriate, when it's available, and when it can help. The reason that's so important is because what medication will do, it will give you a jump start. It will get you farther down the process so that you can do other things to catch up and work alongside it. That would include something like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. If you have mood issues, taking an antidepressant that also helps with weight loss, like bupropion, or taking a medication for headaches if you have migraines that also helps with weight loss, and that's like naltrexone, sorry. But the very best medication we hear a lot about, and that is the GLP-1s, or the glucagon-like proteins. And they've been around for 20 years. We've been using them for weight loss for about 10 years. And the newer ones have fewer and fewer side effects, and they really have very few risks. The risk for these medications is much lower than many of the medications we take every day over the counter, to be honest. And so the reason why I like using GLP-1 so much is because they correct all the causes of weight gain. Many other medications just act on the symptom, things that drive your appetite. So what GLP-1s do, they help stabilize mood. So if you're a mood eater, if you're a stress eater, then it will help with that. It helps prevent overeating, because what drives our appetite is glucose dysregulation in our brain. And what these medications do is they regulate the signals that our brain gets, and therefore the signal that our brain tells us what to do, including eating and what we crave. It controls glucose dysregulation. Glucose dysregulation or regulation is what our body uses to get messages around the body to tell us what to do, to tell our different organs what they should be doing. And when that's off, all those signals get thrown off. And so nothing works efficiently. And so these medications, what they do is they get our body working back to the way they're supposed to, kind of a reset mode. GLP-1s also prevent and reverse fat production. That's how they work. The way our body makes fat is with glucose. And glucose, when it's dysregulated, our body gets really efficient in making fat out of food. And what these medications do is they stop that from happening. They also decrease inflammation by dropping blood sugar. Our blood sugar in our blood causes inflammation all over our body. And that's why when, it increases pain, it increases vision issues, it increases kidney damage, heart damage, small vessel disease, dementia, and so many different other things. And so what GLP-1s do is they help regulate that and keep inflammation down. And so, and finally, what I talked about is the cardiovascular benefits. What GLP-1s do is they help with small vessel disease, and they help prevent the small vessel disease that causes lots of organ damage. And so that's why they're so beneficial on so many levels, way beyond weight health. So again, just to reiterate, the M.E.M.O method that I developed, it is the method I developed 20 years ago to help myself lose over 100 pounds, reverse my diabetes. I was on insulin. I no longer am. I also have kept that 100 pounds off through the years. And and so what this method is, it is minimal effort for maximum outcome to prevent overwhelm in a process to help essentially save your life. It is a weight health process. It can be applied really to any process. I use it across the board, but it really does help with health. And when you apply the minimal effort to maximum outcome to the 4 M's of weight health, that is mindset, meals, muscle, and medication. And when you apply it to those things, you always go for the most efficient way of doing that. And you can maintain it without overwhelm and with maximum benefit for the rest of your life. So again, I'm Dr. Catherine Toomer. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Say hello if you're somewhere. Not getting a whole lot of messages. I hope nothing's been blocked and everything's getting through. So if you have questions, now would be the time to ask them. And if not, then, and you think of some later, you can write them in the messages, in the comments on my YouTube channel. That is youtube.com/@Dr. DrToomer. And so Inger says hello from Atlanta. Hello. Thank you for joining. And so if there are no questions, then I will see you again here next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Every Tuesday here at 6 p.m. And if you have topics that you'd like me to discuss, you can also leave those messages on my YouTube channel. And make sure you subscribe so that you don't miss any future episodes. All right. Well, if there's no questions, I will sign off. This is Dr. Catherine Toomer, the Dr. Toomer Talks Show. And thank you for joining. So Patsy says, does using the M.E.M.O require you to be overweight a certain number of weight? No. So what the M.E.M.O method is simply minimal effort for maximum outcome. So it doesn't even have to be applied to weight health. So weight health doesn't necessarily mean weight loss. What that means is when you are healthy, your weight is going to change. When you do something and the thing is, our weight is the easiest thing for us to measure. And that's why I say weight health, because it's so easy. So even if you're not overweight and you start building muscle, your weight's going to change, at least initially. But it's good. So your weight may go up, but that's good weight loss because it's muscle. And so you're getting stronger. Your metabolic processes are much improved. The other is if you are, so you can actually be not overweight and have your body composition, like we call fatty thin. If your fat percentage for women is over 28%, for men over 25%, you're considered over fat, even if your number on a scale isn't overweight, if that makes sense. And so what you want is to get your fat percentage down below 28% for women and below 25% for men, because that is healthiest. So weight health does not necessarily mean weight loss. It simply means allowing your body to be at a weight where it feels most healthy. And you do whatever is necessary and your body will go where it goes. So it says, what if your medical insurance does not cover GLP-1s? What can I do? My name is Janice McBurnett Williams from Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, there are other options. Cash-based are the only, if your insurance doesn't cover it, the only thing you can do is pay cash. However, there are different ways of not paying full price. There are very safe and trusted compounds. I do have one that I use, a compound pharmacy. There are other people who are just as passionate about access as I am and who have provided ways of getting even the brand at a markedly discounted price. But again, unfortunately, they all cost. There will be a cost involved, anywhere from like $299 to up to, $600-700, just depending on how you manage it. If you'd like to find out what would be the best option for you, you can make a consultation appointment with me, and I can help you try to find something, because it's out there, and they are very helpful and very beneficial medications. And but I could also help determine if it's something that you would need, because not everyone needs a GLP-1. They work really well, but only if you need it. Like I say, if you take Tylenol when you don't have a headache, it doesn't do anything. Same thing with this. If you don't have glucose dysregulation and you take a GLP-1, it doesn't do anything. So it's good to get evaluated first to make sure you don't waste your money on medication you don't need. Here says, does age play a role in weight loss? Does it slow your weight loss? Yes. So as we get older, our metabolism drops. Now, the reason our metabolism drops is because we lose muscle mass. So it's very easy to reverse that. And we reverse it by building muscle. And what building muscle does, especially when we're younger, it stops us from having fall risk when we're older. It keeps us mobile longer. It makes us more independent. And anyone who's older can tell you the biggest issues they have when they're older is mobility and dependency on other people to do things for them. When you build your muscle as early as possible and you maintain it as early as possible and for as long as possible, you maintain your independence for as long as possible. Anyone who you see walking around in their 90s, they'll tell you it's because they stayed strong. It's because they stayed strong when they were young and they maintained that strength all the way through their lives. So when you're older, if as women, we could, as our estrogen drops, our cortisol level goes up. It becomes unopposed. Our cortisol levels create what's called insulin resistance, and that insulin resistance then leads to our weight gain, particularly through our middle. So hormone replacement can prevent that, especially if it started during the perimenopause stage before the weight gain begins. And then muscle is the other thing. The other, though, that causes this is stress. I cannot iterate enough how important stress reduction and stress mitigation is. No matter what else you do, if you don't manage your stress in some way, not much else is going to help. So it's really important for that stress. And that, when I say stress, I mean like deep yoga breathing, which can happen right away. You can drop your stress levels just by breathing at the moment right now. And essentially the way you do that, and I can show you an example, is you try to stay calm. You stay in a nice, calm room. You can actually do this anywhere, even in your car, in your office, anywhere. And essentially what you do is you try to relax your full body. You let your legs relax, your arms, and you relax your shoulders. And then you take a really deep breath, and you probably breathe in 4, hold it for 7 if you can. Now, if you have asthma or COPD, this may be difficult, so you just breathe in, hold, and then let it out. But if you can hold it for 7 counts, that helps. So 4 breaths in, hold for 7, and let it out as slowly as you can. Try to breathe out for at least 8 counts. If you can go longer, even better. But again, if you have lung disease, do not do this, because it can trigger asthma attacks. It can trigger other things if you have lung disease. So if you don't have lung disease and and it's not contraindicated, you take a deep breath in. I'll just demonstrate it now without talking. So it's and that will bring your cortisol levels right down. Very calming. The other thing, when you're doing that, try to keep your shoulders relaxed. Upper neck and upper shoulder stretches, which you can learn on YouTube. There's lots of videos that helps. We tend to hold our tension in our neck. And there's lots of exercises that you can do to prevent neck stretching. And then we prevent neck tension. And so there's lots of different ways you can do that. And there's good examples. But deep yoga breathing, gosh, that just really helped me relax. Deep yoga breathing works really, really well. And what I may do is a whole session of that actually, and just teach how that's done, because really you can do that anywhere. There's a reason why we say count to 10 when you're getting kind of riled up. That's really what your body's doing. It's just making you. So the reason that works is because we have a nerve that runs down this side. It's called the vagus nerve. And what our vagus nerve is also what's called our parasympathetic nerve. Our parasympathetic reaction is the opposite of our fight or flight reaction, which is our stress reaction. So what it does is it causes rest and relaxation. And so when you activate that, it something flying around. When you activate that, it actually activates your rest and relaxation hormones. And so that nerve is attached to your diaphragm. When you take deep breaths, that your diaphragm stretches. And when it stretches, it pulls on that nerve. And when it pulls on that nerve, it triggers a lowering of your cortisol. And that's why deep yoga breathing works really, really, really well. All right. So any more questions? Well, thank you for joining me tonight. And again, I'll be here again next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. And if you have questions or topics you'd like me to speak on, just leave me a message and I will do my best to incorporate it in my talks. So good night. Have a good evening. And I will see you next Tuesday.